Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says talks on ending the war with Russia have produced a solid 20-point peace framework built around NATO-style security guarantees backed by the United States and key European allies.
Dear Ukrainians, both men and women, today our negotiation team is already returning after a meeting in America with representatives of President Trump. Tomorrow morning, I expect a full report on the prepared documents. A lot of work has been done, especially on the documents regarding security guarantees, as well as the 20 points of the main document, the basic framework discussed by the Ukrainian and American delegations. Rustem Umerov and Andriy Henatov will be reporting tomorrow. It is important that the American side is able to obtain a response from Russia, a genuine willingness from that country to focus on something other than aggression. Of course, after so many years since the start of the hybrid war, now a full-scale one, it is hard to believe that Putin could live without killings and invasions. But lowering the price of Russian oil, strong global sanctions, and the continuation of all other forms of pressure, these are the things that will convince even such a stubborn person. Putin wages war as long as he has the money to buy the loyalty of both his inner circle and the Russian population.
As Ukraine's delegation returned from talks in Miami, President Zelensky said the draft proposals are dignified and close to a real deal, but admitted that several points remain unacceptable for both Kyiv and Moscow. U.S. officials are continuing discussions with Russian representatives and are expected to relay feedback to Ukraine.
There's a reason why this war hasn't ended, and that is because there's complex factors at play. I know that sounds like a throwaway line, but it's true. What we have tried to do in this entire process, and let's be clear about this. I mean, the United States is engaged in this. The president says this, and I'll translate what I think he's trying to say to you in all of this, and I think he's been pretty clear about it, is it's not our war. It's a war in another continent. We have equities, we have engagement in this war, but it's not our war per se. But we are been told by everybody, I think everybody would agree, that there's only one nation on earth, there's only one entity on earth that can actually talk to both sides and figure out whether there's a way to end this war peacefully. And that's the United States. And we've invested a lot of time, a lot of energy at the highest levels of our government. I believe, President Trump has had more meetings with foreign leaders and others on the war in Ukraine than on any other subject, including trade. He's invested a lot of time. Steve and Jared have invested time. I've invested time. The vice president, the Secretary of War, others, Secretary of Treasury, and more have invested a tremendous amount of time and energy in this. And what we're trying to figure out here is what can Ukraine live with and what can Russia live with, sort of identify what both sides' positions are and see if we can sort of drive them towards each other to some agreement.
The talks remain strained, with Moscow and Kyiv advancing starkly opposing demands, even as U.S. President Donald Trump presses both sides to reach a peace deal.
I thought that we were very close with Russia to having a deal. I thought we were very close with Ukraine to having a deal. In fact, other than President Zelensky, his people loved the concept of the deal. We threw something out.
This is the four-part deal that you...
Well, there's 4 or 5 different parts. It's, a little bit complicated because you're cutting up land in a certain way. It's not the easiest thing. It's sort of like a complex real estate deal times 1,000, right? But it's a deal that would have stopped the killing of thousands of lives every month.
Zelensky says almost 90% of Ukraine's demands are now reflected in the draft peace texts, which are built around a 20-point plan at their core. He added that the package includes a separate framework on security guarantees involving Ukraine, European partners, and the United States, along with a distinct bilateral document spelling out specific U.S. security commitments to Kyiv,
while also paying for the killings on the front lines. And over this past year, much has already been done to reduce the amount of money available to the Russian war machine. I am grateful to all our warriors for the deep strikes. Now, we see results almost every day, and this is especially noticeable in the deep strikes against Russian oil exports. It's good that the European Union, America, and other partners are putting pressure on Russian gas and oil exports. The tankers that Russia uses to profit from the war and to support Putin's friends are increasingly running into problems in key waters. There will also be new global sanctions against tankers and the entire infrastructure of such exports, companies, insurers, captains, and crews, of course. We are also preparing our new sanction packages against various individuals, not only Russians, who work for the aggressor's defense industry. And our sanction proposals are always taken into account by our partners. This is one of the priorities of our foreign policy, to ensure that Ukrainian sanctions are synchronized with those of our partners. Today, I updated these very tasks for Ukrainian diplomats. I congratulated them on their professional holiday and thanked everyone who is truly working for our foreign policy, for making Ukraine effective in international affairs, because this is now one of the foundations of our defense. Ukrainian strength is unity with the world, and now we have achieved the highest level of this unity. Never before in its history has Ukraine had such support from its partners as it does now. Reaching this level was not easy, just as it is not easy month after month to gain and maintain the world's attention on Ukraine. Despite everything, we did not let the world forget about Ukraine. We did not allow other topics and problems to overshadow attention to Ukraine. The societies of our partners support us, our state, our defense. This is significant. It gives us the strength to defend ourselves. Today, I also had the honor to thank our Ukrainian energy workers, all our heroes who are overcoming Russia literally every day, restoring generation, restoring supply, and bringing normal life back to Ukrainians through their work. And truly, Ukraine can be proud of the professionalism of our energy sector workers. Thank you. One more thing. Today, we spoke with the chairman of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, Ruslan Stefanchuk. Among other things, I asked Ruslan, together with the members of parliament, as well as with government officials and representatives of civil society, to prepare proposals for defining new and logical approaches to the holidays and special days in our calendar. There are sometimes unfortunate calendar coincidences, and the war has brought about many such changes. When days of tragedy coincide with professional holidays, or when, due to Soviet times and the early years of independence, several completely different professional days fall on the same date. All of this needs to be put in order. Thank you to everyone who will help with this. Just as the truly authentic Christmas celebration was easily and widely accepted on December the 25th, other significant dates and important occasions should also be treated with fairness and accuracy. Thank you so very much to each and every individual who diligently works for our beloved country and for all of our wonderful people. Glory to Ukraine!